So hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening depending on the time at which you are seeing this lecture. In the last lecture, we were doing the question paper mapping. We saw a lot of questions. So let us just quickly run through the economics syllabus, which is point number 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10. We are now not touching agriculture section, which is 4, 5, 6, 7. And the good news is I will be covering agriculture. I just confirmed it. So we'll do the same process of question paper mapping, syllabus analyzing, and then we'll go to the sources and then we'll study agriculture. But the weightage of agriculture is a bit less compared to economics. That is why we'll focus much more of our time to economics. Right? What is the first syllabus point? Try to recall, try to tell what is the first syllabus point. See, by that, see, abhi tak to you would have, by hearted this. So what is the first syllabus point? Can anyone tell me? Just try to recall, try to recollect. There are 5 sub-points. 5 sub-points in the first point. What is the first syllabus point? Indian economy and, come on, Indian economy and issues relating to planning, mobilization of resources, growth, development and employment. So all issues relating to planning. So we'll cover planning separately in a separate lecture. Mobilization of resources is covered in the fiscal policy chapter. Then growth, employment, development, right? Second, what is the second point? Try to recollect. It is very easy. Inclusive growth and what? And the most important word, inclusive growth and issues arising from it. Issues is very important, right? Third is government budgeting. Very easy, simple, straightforward government budgeting. 8th point. There are 3 sub-points in the 8th point. Effect of liberalization on Indian economy. 1. Second, changes in industrial policy. 2. Third, and their effects on industrial growth. 3. Right? Then we saw 9th point. What is the 9th point? Infrastructure, ports, roads, airports, railways, etc. etc. is the most dangerous word in UPSC. Okay? Etc. what happens is that anything and everything can come, but still we saw that something related is coming: housing, telecom, logistics and all of that, and these are in news constantly. See, I'm actively telling you to read newspaper because that is the source material, that is the base material for doing economy. No book will give you all the answers for the questions which are actually asked. Yes, concepts you will understand from books, there is no doubt about it, but current affairs and all of those have to be present in your answers, otherwise you will not get marks. Okay, 10th point, 2 very easy words: investment models. We were making our question paper list. Last lecture we saw 2020 question 2 and 2020 question 12. Right? We saw these 2 questions, 2020 question number 2 and 2020 question number 12. We analyzed these. Now, let me take you to 2018, just continuing with it. We'll see 2018 question. 2018, kahan hai? 2018, where is it? Let us see 2018 question number 11. 2018 question number 11. 2018 question number 11. I know you can't see this clearly because there is some processing problem, I think, with this file. Let me just close it. I don't know why this is happening. But okay, 2018 question 11, we'll see what is the question. I'll read the question, don't worry. Even if you can't see, I'll read the question. So I'll read the question for you. How are, this is question 11 and it is for 50, it is another 15 markers. So we have seen very less 15 markers from point number 1. This is another 15 marker for 250 words. 250 words means I hope by now you have a rough estimate of how many words you are able to write in one page after leaving the page paragraph breaks and headings break and all of that. So in 250 words you have to write this. It is a 15 marker. I'll read the question. Just pay attention. How are the principles followed by Niti Aayog? How are the principles followed by Niti Aayog different from those followed by erstwhile Planning Commission in India? Very, very, very simple, straightforward school level question. How are the principles followed by Niti Aayog different from those followed by the erstwhile Planning Commission in India? How are the principles followed by Niti Aayog different from those followed by erstwhile Planning Commission in India? Again, put on your thinking hats and tell me, which syllabus point are we talking about here? What do you think? Which syllabus point are we talking about here? Try to take a guess. Which syllabus point? Which syllabus point are we talking about here? Any idea which syllabus point? Yes, no? Anything at all? Very easy. Indian economy and issues relating to planning. Planning. Remember, point sub point 1 of point 1. Planning. Indian economy and issues relating to planning. This is very easy question. How are the principles followed by Niti Aayog different from those followed by erstwhile Planning Commission? Now look at the word here. Principles. They have asked about principles followed by Niti Aayog. Principles. They have not asked what is the different composition or what are the different departments in Niti Aayog compared to Planning Commission. Principles. How is the working different? How is the philosophy different? How is the objective different? Those are the principles of working of these two organizations. We'll see that also in the planning this thing. But this was a straightforward question and no rocket science needed to answer this. It is covered in your Lakshmikant also. Please bear in mind, like I told you, there is a big overlap between various general studies, different syllabus points. So, this is there in Lakshmikant also. A part of it is there in Lakshmikant also. But remember that this is not GS2, this is GS3. So concepts of federalism, concepts of fiscal autonomy and all of those, political autonomy and all of those should not appear here primarily. You can write 1 or 2 points on it, but not primarily. Reason being, this is GS3 paper, this is economics. Okay? So please write, parts. How are the principles followed by Niti Aayog different from those followed by erstwhile Planning Commission in India? So we'll divide our answer into 3 parts. First part is we'll talk little bit about Niti Aayog. Why do we do that? Because this is a 15 marker. If it was a 10 marker, 1-2 lines and we would have started. But since it is a 15 marker, we'll deliberate some part of Niti Aayog, then of Planning Commission, and then the principles, the different principles followed by Niti Aayog and Planning Commission, the difference in the approaches which is given by these two organizations. Okay? Okay, right, very good. Let us continue. How are the principles followed by Niti Aayog different from those followed by erstwhile Planning Commission of India? So, Planning Commission was established in 1950. Then Niti Aayog was established in 2014. What has changed? And now, where are we heading forward? So, those are the 2-3 parts you can divide this question. Of course, the majority of the marks will be given to the difference. This word is called, I don't know whether you can read it. This is different. Okay? So, how are the principles followed by Niti Aayog different from those followed? So, difference pay, you will get the maximum weightage. Okay? So, please write 2018 question 11 in your point 1 of your sheet. Please write 2018 question 11. 2018 question 11. 2018 question 11 in point 1 of your syllabus sheet. Okay, done? Okay. Next, we'll move on to the next question. It is in the same paper, 2018. It is the question right below this. (2018) question 12. 2018 question 12. Again, 100% current affairs based question. No static knowledge required for this particular question. 100% current affairs. Very easy question. 2018 question 12. So, 215 markers have come from point 1 in 2018. Not to give any kind of a fake trend analysis ki see this in point 1 only 10 markers are coming, but now 15 markers are also coming. That all is futile. We just want to know ki what are the boundaries of our study and what are the boundaries which they ask within. 12. How would the recent, I'll just read it. How would the recent phenomena of protectionism, 1. Currency manipulations. 2. Okay. How would the recent phenomena of protectionism, 1. Currency manipulations. 2. I am dividing it straightforward. In the world trade affect macroeconomic stability of India. So, just to read the question, just to reiterate, how would the recent phenomena of protectionism and currency manipulations in world trade affect macroeconomic stability of India? See, normal English say, I hope you are able to understand what they are asking. What does it mean and what to write, that is all secondary. Okay? So, recent phenomena of protectionism, which means somebody is protecting something, or closeness, it is inward lookingness, that is protectionism. And currency manipulation. Currency manipulation means artificially adjusting the exchange rate and all. We'll see that in the balance of payment chapter. In world trade affecting macroeconomic stability of India. So see, remember this was asked in 2018. In 2018, US President Donald Trump had accused China of being a currency manipulator. Other countries had also followed suit, and China was accused of being a currency manipulator, or you can say of dampening the world trade, of affecting the world trade, and that is why all other countries also imposed tariffs. So USA started by imposing tariff on aluminium products on imports from China, which means that imports from China, when they will come to US, they will have to face a higher import duty, which will make it costly in US, which will make other products in US comparatively cheaper, or from other countries when the products will come, they will be comparatively cheaper, which means demand for Chinese products would go down, which means China's export economy would suffer. Many countries had followed the same thing. China also China also put import duty on aluminium products and steel products from USA. India was also caught in the collateral damage or cross-firing between these two countries, right? So that is what they are asking. So, okay, one more rule, when we read this question, one more rule we come across is, yesterday I was talking to a few of you on Zoom meeting. I told you about how to read newspapers, right? So the कहना क्या चाहते हो thing. So whenever you read international relations for GS2, whenever you read international relations from newspaper, always ask one question. One question always ask: how does this affect India? Whenever you read something, some other country's name, this country is doing that, this country is doing that, how does it affect India? If it affects India a lot, then definitely you have to prepare it. If it does not concern India in any way, then it is relevant for prelims, because in prelims they might ask, this place is located in which country, or this place in news is why, and so on and so forth. Okay? So whenever you are reading, the rule for international relations is ask, how does this affect India? Directly, indirectly, remotely, okay. But how does this affect India? How would the recent phenomena of protectionism and currency manipulation in world trade affect macroeconomic stability of India? Okay? So since it is a 15 marker, we have to write something on protectionism. We have to write something on currency manipulation. These two are very different things. So protectionism is related to world trade and import duties and all. Currency manipulation is related to artificially changing the value of your currency. Sir, how do we do that? We'll see. Balance of payment. Abhi bahut time hai. This is a long journey we are taking together. Don't worry. It is a journey of 35-40 lectures. Okay? Around 35-40 lectures. So, and this is the this is the third lecture, or 2.5 lectures. So we have a long journey. How would the recent phenomena of protectionism and currency manipulations in the world trade affect macroeconomic stability of India? So first part, second part, third part. Now macroeconomic stability of India. So you have to also say about, you have to think that what are the factors which give macroeconomic stability to Indian economy, or stability to macroeconomic indicators of Indian economy. Okay na? So what is it that makes India stable? So we have a constant growth rate, and this is pre-COVID. So always remember that things were not so haphazard back then. So macroeconomic stability, what do we have? We have a constant growth rate, low inflation. All of that was true in 2018. All of that is completely false in 2021. Isn't it? Inflation is at an all-time high, unemployment is high, growth rate is in negative, and this is the problem faced by almost all the countries, not only India. So anyways, so you have to first define protectionism, currency manipulation, then how does it affect macroeconomic stability? Now imagine if we wouldn't have done this kind of analysis in a school like or a college like environment, the answer to this question is very different. We try to club these two things and then we say that this affects economy in a negative manner, 1, 2, 3, 4. But these are two very different things, protectionism and currency manipulations. So how does protection affect the macroeconomic stability? And let me take you one step forward. You cannot say protectionism affects macroeconomic stability negatively. How is very important. What in macroeconomic stability, what is that is affected due to protectionism? So you can say exports. Then you can say exports are negatively affected. Just an example, right? So similarly, currency manipulation ka effect. Now, of course, 1 and 2 would have very less weightage. Out of 15, maybe 5 marks would be set aside for introduction, conclusion, and these two terms ka sum of the matter, and 10 marks would be assigned for its effect on India. So accordingly allocate space. So you have this 250 words, 250 words, so almost 3 or 2.5 sides. Remember yesterday we did that page analysis. So 1 side, 2 side, 3 side. Okay. So what you can do is you can end your this introduction, protectionism and currency manipulation by here, and this last 1/4 page, this full page, and this half page you have to write about the effect on macroeconomic stability of India, and then you have to conclude. That is how you write. And always remember that writing 250 words is okay if you know a lot about it. Otherwise, if you don't know, then stick to 220 to 25 words around. You can UPSC has told you not to exceed the word limit, but you can definitely write below word limit. Why? Because your answer should be relevant, meaningful, succinct. So succinctness will come by writing less, but at the same time, it should be completely meaningful and completely relevant to what is asked. Okay, so please write 2018 question number 12 in your point 1. 2018, anything which affects the macroeconomy, overall economy will come in point 1. Just remember one thing. Anything which affects overall economy will come in point 1. Yes, you can write this in point number 8 also. I told you there is a lot of overlap between point 1 and point 8. This is an effect of liberalization, is it not? We are dependent on other countries and then their protectionism and currency manipulation affect India. Okay? So you can definitely write this in point 8. I have written it in point 1 because it talks about the macroeconomic stability. It is not talking about only liberalization ka effect or not solely focused on liberalization. It is talking ultimately whatever is happening, how is it affecting macroeconomic stability? How is it affecting growth? How is it affecting development? How is it affecting employment scenario in India? How is it affecting exports, performance, etc. 2018 question number 12, please write this down in your point number 1. You can write it in point 8 also, no problem. Now let me take you way back in time to 2013. Question number 9. See, this is what I was talking about. 5 marker questions are coming. 5 marker questions are coming up. 5 marker questions. They can make a comeback again. It is not necessary that you follow a 10 and 15 marker approach. Always be very flexible in your answer writing, in your preparation, that if 12.5 marker is asked, you are able to answer. If 20 marker is asked, you are able to answer. Okay, 9A. Read the question. Please read 9A. Please read the question. Discuss the impact of, again, FDI has come in. multi-trade retail sector, supply chain management in the commodity trade pattern of the economy. If you have read the syllabus, does this term appear anywhere on the syllabus? Does this term appear anywhere on the syllabus in GS3? Anywhere does this term come? This term comes in point number 6. Okay? This term comes in point number 6. If you see the syllabus, it is clearly mentioned: food processing, location, upstream, downstream requirements, and supply chain management. And like I told you over the Zoom call, that the last point of the syllabus is often very important and very ignored part when we prepare. So in the end, they will give you one point, and you will have to then when we prepare going according to the syllabus, by the time we reach the last point, we are exhausted and we move on to the next point. Okay, so supply chain management. So this is a combination of point 1 and point 6. Why point 1? Because it is talking about mobilization of resources. It is talking about FDI. So you can write in point 1 plus point 6 combined. 5 marker question hai. So no need of writing the introduction, no need of writing the conclusion. More than one line. One line is sufficient. One single line is sufficient for both introduction and conclusion. And then most of your points or majority of your answer has to go in the effect of FDI entry into multi-trade. This was after the Walmart deal. When Walmart was coming into India, that was in news, that was current based, that was a lot in discussion in 2013. Hence, this question has come in. Okay, so it is not random. Please, when you read the questions, you feel that it is very random. They are asking about gold monetization scheme. They are asking about jobless growth. They are asking about FDI in multi-brand retail. They are asking about FDI in defense sector. So many things. They are asking about currency manipulation. So it is not random. These are all current affairs based questions. Whatever is going to happen in 2021 and 2022 will definitely make an appearance in your paper. Will definitely come not only in GS3, in economy, but also in science and tech, but also in international relations. If you see IR, it will also make an appearance in your polity, GS2, if there is a tussle between states, and what we say, newspaper is the only source for these things. See, I actively discourage reading ready-made material to start with. You cannot start with ready-made material. Ready-made material is a supplement. You cannot substitute it for your newspaper. Okay? Discuss the impact of FDI entry into multi-trade retail sector on supply chain management and commodity trade pattern of the economy. No need, and see 100 words. So, see, words are also changing. 5 marks, 100 words. Now we see 10 marks, 150 words. We saw 12.5 marks, 200 words. And we saw 15 marks, 250 words. So the weightage of the next 50 words might not be the same. Because if you have to double this 10 marks, this should have been 200 words. But it is 150 words in our paper. Okay? Then for 15 marks, it should have been kitna? 300 words. But it is 250 words. Clear? This is 5 marker. Please write this in your point 1 or point 6, whatever you feel comfortable with. 2013 question 9A. I am going to give you a lot of flexibility in preparation because there is no one right way of success. I am doing this, I am saying this, do this only. It is not, that does not work. The only thing is you have to cover the syllabus inside out. That is the sine qua non. That is the requirement for this. Discuss the impact of FDI entry into multi-trade retail sector. Please write 2013 question number 9A in point 1. Yes, you have written. Yes, sir. Please move ahead. Very good. Next, we are reading. Next question is 2013 question 9B. 2013 question 9B. 2013 question 9B. Please read this. Please read 2013 question 9B. Please read this. We will just read it in Hindi just for the sake of interesting entertainment. यद्यपि भारत ने सितंबर 2012 में संयुक्त संधि मार्ग द्वारा बहुमार्ग का खुदरा कहलाने वाले व्यापार में विदेशी प्रत्यक्ष निवेश (FDI) को स्वीकृति दे दी थी, पर इस निवेश में एक वर्ष पश्चात भी कोई उन्नति नहीं हुई है। कारणों की विवेचना कीजिए। वेरी गुड। 5 मार्कर। $100 words, right? Again FDI, again mobilization of resources, again the same multi-brand retail. See, it happened in September 12. So please do not panic by saying we don't know, we cannot find the answer to this. You will not find the answer to this now because this happened in 2012, asked in 2013. If you are giving in 2022, whatever is asked in 2021 and 22 will be asked. So that is why studying now is important. Don't keep everything for the last moment. Please study economics with me. So by the time I have my last lecture here, you should have a lot of clarity, you should have a lot of confidence in the subject, and 70-80% calm work should be done in the lectures itself. That is why I always tell you, there is no thing like perfect study. I will study very well, aram se I'll sit, I'll make notes cleanly, I will draw margins and I will write everything down. They will be my perfect notes. There's nothing called as a perfect notes, there's nothing called as perfect study. Everything is to be done for the sake of syllabus completion. Don't waste time in drawing everything and making everything fancy, right? Nobody is going to give you marks on presentation of your notes. The marks of presentation will be given in the answer, and for that you need to prepare. So FDI even after year has not picked up. See, have we seen a similar question? FDI has not picked up. Have we seen a similar question on MOUs, that MOUs are being signed and actual FDI is not happening? I told you about Magnetic Maharashtra in 2015. The question had appeared, right? So FDI even after year has not picked up. Similar thing they have asked in 2013. The reasons are different. This is they are talking about a particular deal or a particular sector. But in the next question, MOU wala question, which we saw in the last lecture, they had asked overall India mein lot of agreements or MOUs are being signed, but mobilization is not happening. ठीक है ना? So please write 2013 question 9B also in point number 1. 2013 question 9B in point number 1. So 10 marks, 200 words you have to write, different questions. After this, we move on to the next question. Question 10. Sorry. Read this. Now tell me how many questions on GST are asked till date from point 1. We saw 3 questions. GST compensation cess, we saw because it was in current. Performance of GST, we saw because current. Rationale for GST in India, because it was in discussion at that time. See, GST, if you don't know, GST has been in discussion since 2003. Okay? Since 2003, GST has been in discussion. GST was implemented finally in 2016-17. Okay? Now 2016-17 it got implemented. How many years? 13 plus years. Tax regime is not something which is or which can be changed in a matter of months or a few years. It has to take a long time because it is a complete overhaul. You do not renovate your home once every 2 years or every year. At least 5-8 years, then you take a renovation of your home. So regime change, tax regime change or tax regime improvement or overhaul is not something which is to be taken very lightly, and hence this took a lot of time. Of course, there is bureaucracy. Of course, there is political there are political considerations. All those things are there. So that maybe it should have taken 6-7 years, but because of those things, it took double the time. That's fine. But it was in discussion in 2012. They were going to implement it in 2013. Congress government was going to implement it just before the elections. In 2014, there were going to be elections. In 2013, they were going to implement GST, but they thought that it might be adverse for the voting, and they might lose the elections because of difficulties which the new regime will create in understanding, in implementation, and that is why they postponed it. They thought that they'll win, and after the win, we'll start working by 2014-15 on GST. But what happened is they lost the election anyway, and the new government picked up GST and then they implemented it. So again, this is not something which can be found in books at that time. Now you will find entire library of GST, but this was not something which could be found in 2012 books because it was in current affairs, it was in news. So that is why current affairs is more important in economics. Conceptual understanding from static and current affairs for knowledge, you can say. Okay? There is no point in rote learning definitions of things which you don't understand the meaning of. If you know the meaning, you will be able to write. If you don't know the meaning, only rote learning will not work. Sometimes rote learning is definitely required. Like there are a few things in which you cannot compromise on the words, or you have to write it verbatim, but very few things. For example, in polity GS2, article numbers mein rote learning is absolutely essential. There is no substitute for that. You cannot write 247 instead of 246. Article numbers, section numbers of the acts, act names, act GST compensation to compensation cess to states act 2017. This entire name is very important. Companies Act 2013, all of that is very important. The act name, the act year is very important. So what is asked finally? Rationale for introducing. Why are we introducing GST? Bring out critically the reasons for delay in rollout. So they are asking why delay is happening since 10 years. In 2013, it was 10 years since discussion. And that is why a lot of newspaper articles were carrying 10 years since GST discussion has not happened, and UPSC picked that up and asked, chalo, tell me whether you have read newspaper or not. Indirectly by all these questions, UPSC is asking, have you read newspaper? Bear in mind, you will not find a direct answer to this question in the ready-made monthly material. Okay? You might find answers to some questions, you might find answers to partial answers you might find, but always keep in mind that everyone is reading the same material and is solely dependent on it. Newspaper is your analysis, your understanding, your interpretation of these things. So if you read an article which has a unique point in relating to delay of GST rollout regime, so you can write it here and you will get marks. Now ask yourself, it is a quiz. Ask yourself, if a similar kind of question were to appear in 2021 or 2022, what do you think will be the question? Similar means GST related question. If they have to ask in 2021 or 22, you say you don't know anything about GST, but still this ability building exercise that we are doing to analyze the questions and to see what and how they are asking. See, how is more important than what in any manner. In anything you do in UPSC preparation, how is more important than what? I will tell you read NCERT, but how to read NCERT is more important. I will tell you, read Ramesh Singh book, but how to read? Anyways, so discuss the rationale for introducing GST in India, bring out critically the reasons for delay in rollout of its regime. Now if this question were to come, it might be on the lines that, so it was introduced in 2017, 16, 17, 5 years will happen now. 21, 22. GST has completed 5 years, but a lot of teething problems or a lot of implementation problems still remain. Please elaborate or something like that. So they will ask about problems which are existing even after 5 years. They will not ask about problems which came initially during implementation. 16, 17 mein wo aaya, and they have asked a question also on GST in that. Right? One more interesting fact is, I'll tell you, in my first attempt, 2017, I had made me and my friends, 3 of us, we used to do group studies together, and we used to predict the questions which might come based on current affairs only, not based on a book. Based on current affairs, we used to predict. So 2017 GST was fresh, it was new, no question had been asked except this. Other than this, no question had been asked on GST. So I had predicted that they will ask about GST. My friends started laughing. They said that it is obvious they might ask about GST. So what is the question, or how they will frame? That is what we are doing here. My friends told me. I said, and it was just a guess, but it was a lucky guess because that is what happened in the exam. I guessed that UPSC is very smart. GST is an economic topic, right? They will not ask GST in economics. They will ask GST in GS2. They will ask in polity, what are the constitutional changes which are being made due to the Amendment Act. Are you getting what I'm saying? GST, to implement GST, a lot of constitutional amendments were made because taxation powers, fiscal powers are shared between center and states in a particular manner, fiscal relations. You will read a chapter, probably the most important chapter for mains and prelims in Lakshmikant, probably. Parliament is definitely there. After Parliament is center-state relations. Please do not take that chapter in polity, Lakshmikant, lightly. Center-state relations is a very, very important chapter from mains and prelims point of view. So in that, there is something called as a fiscal or financial relations between center and states. Which state has power to tax what goods or what services or what things? Which authority, center or state, will collect the tax money, or which center or state or which authority will keep the money. All of that is in financial relations, fiscal relations. Okay? So I had predicted that GST they will not ask in economy. They will ask in polity. They will ask the constitutional aspect of it, because everyone was very well prepared with the economic aspect, which taxes are gone, why this thing is happening, why GST is coming, all of that. And they, trust me, in 2017, open your GS2 paper of 2017 and see the question. There is a question on GST 101 Constitutional Amendment Act. There is a question on that in GS2 polity, not in GS3 economy. I was so happy to see this question, to see that question, that that I focused all my attention on that question and I wrote it so well that other questions ke liye very less time was left and I had to rush through them and write only average answers in other questions in GS2. But I was happy that prediction came true. So this is how you have to think from all the angles. So normally GST people think, oh, economy, oh, tax, but it is not. Na? For constitution, full constitution amendment was brought in, changes were made. It has effect on center-state relations, and that was also asked. Now, effect on center-state relations. Now, just listen. Effect on center-state relations was asked in 2019 or 20. We saw, right? How does it affect the GST compensation to cess, compensation cess to states? Wala, 2020 it was asked. Now, how does it affect the fiscal relations, federal relations was asked between center and states. Now, that is technically a polity point, but asked in GS3. Are you getting it? So, they ask these things, which, transcend outside the normal realm of the topic or the paper, GS1, 2, 3. So, they might ask something on agriculture and environment. In GS3 only environment, you have point number 14 relating to environment, conservation, biodiversity, environment, conservation, biodiversity, right? They might ask agriculture related question in geography, GS1, obviously. So, depending on the paper, you have to write the answer. So, question on environment in GS1 will have a geographical angle. Question on environment in GS3 and point number 14 will have an environmental angle. We'll talk about pollution and soil and all of that. Question on environment or question on agriculture will have economic angle if it comes from point 1 to point 10, and that is why knowing from which point does it come is very important, and accordingly you will have to write the answer. You cannot write about soils and types of soils and composition of soils in economy or agriculture part. See, the name suggests agriculture, but when we do the syllabus, I will show you that it is not agriculture per se, it is the economics of agriculture. It is not per se agriculture. That you will learn in human geography, soils and all of that. It is the economics of agriculture, right? Marketing, what are the issues in marketing? What are the issues in storage? There is a point on crops and irrigation systems and all of that. But again, from an economic angle. So they will not ask which soil is suitable for sugarcane. They will say ki why sugarcane is being grown. The reason being it is very remunerative. Economic angle. Always remember the paper you are studying for. Please, the same question, one question can appear in GS2 also. The same question can appear in GS3, and the connotation or the answer will change accordingly. Please brace yourself for that. Please write 2013 question number 10 in your point 1. Very easy. Delay in rollout ka reason. They are asking, have you read editorials? This is the question. Have you read editorials or not? Okay, very good. 2013 question 10. Please do 2013 question 10. Rationale for introducing GST in India, bring out critically the reasons for the delay in rollout for its regime. 2013 question 10 will come in point 1. Will come in point 1. Yes, happy news, good news I am going to give you is that point number 1 is done. Point number 1 is finished. We have seen all the questions in the last 8 years. And why are we stopping at 2013? Because syllabus was changed in 2013. The new pattern, new syllabus has come in from 2013. This was the first year when new syllabus, new pattern had come. And that is why we analyze papers from 2013 to 2020. Some people say analyze only past 5 years papers. I say that is very good, but we know UPSC. We know they will ask something very easy. They will repeat something very easy from this paper just to show you that they can think out of the box. So whatever I told you, whatever UPSC has given us, you have to go through it very well. UPSC has given us past year papers from 2013 to 20. You have to go through them very well. For those of you who are writing 2022 exam, please I request you, 2021 paper when it will come, October, the exam will have, prelims is on October and mains will be in January, somewhere around mid-Jan or early Jan. So when these papers will come, both for prelims and mains, 2021 papers will come, please do this kind of analysis, add it to your list, please do that. I will not be there to help you do that. 21 paper is a homework for everyone, it is a delayed homework. When it will come by January, immediately the day it comes, the day you get hands on the paper, please do this analysis, add to your points, and then you'll realize what kind of questions are asked. So we have seen GST pe there are 3 questions asked, performance is asked, rationale is asked, delay is asked, and issues are asked. Issues. Okay. See, every question has issues, na? Reasons for delay. What are the issues? Every question has delay. Even after a year, FDI has not picked up. Reasons. What is happening? What are the issues which are there in FDI? ठीक है? Point number 1 is done. Point number 1, we have seen all the questions. I think you can count the number of questions, how many they are asked from point number 1. Now we quickly move on to, so I have, you must have noticed that I have those questions which overlap between point 1 and point 8. I have written them in point 1 only. So now we will see the questions which are exclusively covered under point 8. Point 8 is, what is point number 8? There are 3 sub-points. What is point number 8? Effect of liberalization on Indian economy, changes in industrial policy, and its effect on industrial growth. See, whenever I ask you something or I tell you to recall something, please try to do that because you are training your mind to do that. After that, I will do it alone, nicely, at night, or now I remember everything. I don't need to revise SNE. Every day you need to revise. You need to do the same for GS1, GS2, GS3. I do it in my lectures because I feel that it is very essential to show you that questions come from the 4 walls of the syllabus. Yes or no? I had told you that questions come very easy. They are easy if you know the concepts, and they come from the 4 walls of the syllabus. 1 or 2 questions will come from outside. 1 or 2 questions have to come from outside because see, those questions which you don't know or which you have not read about, after preparing also, after reading current affairs of 1 year, after reading books, after revising, after practicing, after writing tests, after everything also, if a question comes which is completely unheard of, which you don't know the answer to, and which is very new or which is very unique, then you need to know that that question, 1, is tough or is unknown for everyone. Okay? Second, because you have prepared well, so you are at the top of the food chain, and if that is difficult for you, it is definitely difficult for those who are below the food chain, below you in terms of preparation. 1, it is difficult for everyone or unknown for everyone. And second most important part, that question, the intention of that question is not to test your knowledge or content on that question, but is to test your mental temperament, that whether you are calm even after knowing that you don't know the answer. Prelims is full of such questions. Trust me, when we'll see prelims questions, I will show you such questions that you say that these questions don't make any sense. The reason being, those questions are thrown there to test whether you are calm in the face of uncertainty, adversity or not. Those questions are not meant to test your answer. They are meant to test your mental capacity. They are meant to test your mental strength. Whether you mess up your other known answers by this one question, or whether you panic, and whether it affects your entire performance or not, these questions are meant for that. Okay? So don't worry about those questions. But yes, you have to worry about those questions which come directly from current affairs, which come directly from books, which come directly from known sources. If they come, for example, history mein, if a question comes and if it is given in Spectrum or NCERT and or any standard book, which is referred by you, if it is not read by you, then it is fine. But if you read Spectrum or NCERT and if a question comes from there, both in prelims and mains, and then if you don't know, then there is a problem. Then there is a problem with your preparation. Okay, we'll see point number 8 exclusively, point number 8 questions. So let us go to point number 8. Point number 8 may we are in 2013 only. So let us start with 2013 itself. 2013 question 7 is an exclusive point for point number 8. Question 7 kahan gaya? Exclusively. Read the question. This is exclusively from point number 8. Examine the impact of liberalization on companies owned by Indians. Are they competing with MNCs satisfactorily? Okay. Again, a general awareness or a general current based question. Again, this answer to this you will not find in books. You will not find the answer to this question in books even today. Okay. Even today you will not find the answer to this question in books. Examine the impact of liberalization on companies owned by Indians. Are they competing with the MNCs satisfactorily? Discuss. Impact of liberalization on companies owned by Indians. So you can write both. You have to divide them. I told you have to divide the answer. 200, 100 hai. You have to divide them into parts for ease of our writing and the reading of the examiner. So impact is a very neutral word. So impact can be both positive or impact can be negative. Right? So examine the positive impact or what is, so you have to write the positive impact of liberalization on Indian economies, Indian companies, or negative impact, both. You have to write both. Because companies have been positively impacted also. They have access to new technology, raw material processing and all has been increased. Negative is competition. Obviously, negative is competition and labor outflow is also there. So, because of global technology companies, so many good employees from Indian tech companies are going to MNCs and other companies, right? So, all of those are there. And are they competing with MNCs satisfactorily? Now here you have to give your opinion yes or no. Right? Now what is your common sense saying? Are Indian companies competing satisfactorily with their global counterparts? Take anything, don't think about companies in general. Now this is also a very collective word. This is a very collective word. Companies mean there are a lot of sectors, right? Pharma companies, technology companies, automobile companies. There are different kind of companies. So are we competing? So if you want to make your answer more targeted, then what you should do is you should mention at least 3-4 sectors and then say ki in that sector it is competing, in that sector it is not competing. Okay? Whatever is your opinion, and then of course you should discuss. Even this word discuss was not given. You cannot leave the question, leave the answer after saying yes or no. You have to justify, you have to discuss. So of course, what do you think? Marks kisko zyada hoga? So if I say ki this is the first part, impact will be the first part, and are they competing would be the second part. So what do you think the marks would be? I think honestly the marks should be equal because both are important. And if more marks are to be given, then it will be second part, obviously, because second part is more analytical and more thought provoking compared to first. But yes, both are interesting, both are analytical, both require understanding of issues and all of that. So 2 parts. Done. Please write 2013 question 7 in point 8. This is directly under the domain of point 8. Please write 2013 question 7 in point 8. 2013 question number 7.8. ठीक है, then 2013 question number 7.8 written in under point 8. Then we go to 2015. This paper which does not load properly. Very slowly it loads. (2015) question number 10. 2015 question number 10. This is again directly coming from point number 8. Big question. Read it. Read the question. Tell me the sub point of this. I'm telling you it is from point 8, but tell me the sub point of this question. Sub point of the syllabus. So you might not know about this. Okay? You might not know about this. So this is the sub point. Point 8, obviously it is point 8. The sub point is changes in industrial policy. Right? SEZs were introduced in 2005 and SEZ also forms a part of change in industrial policy. SEZ also forms a part of your overall industrial regime overhaul, which we started doing after 1991 reform. So 2005 is a major landmark in industrial policy regime, and this has come directly from there. So there is a clear acknowledgement that SEZs are a tool of industrial development 1, manufacturing 2, and exports 3. So they are not asking your opinion on this. Recognizing this potential, the whole instrumentality of SEZs. What do you mean by instrumentality? Importance, you can say. The whole importance of SEZ requires augmentation. Right? Discuss my favorite word. So let me take this opportunity to introduce one more funny thing. Like we saw, कहना क्या चाहते हो, this thing. We all have friends who say things which don't make sense. We all have friends who constantly complain कि ये ऐसा ही है, ये वैसा ही है. You know, if you go to, let's say, if you go on a trip, some person will cry कि oh, the seat is not comfortable, food is not good, right? Or siblings also of our similar age. What do we tell them? What do we tell them? क्या problem है? What is the issue? Problem क्या है? You know, someone is always complaining, someone is always crying. So what is the issue? What is the problem? Everything you read in newspaper and in books, please ask the paper or the book this question. क्या problem है? ठीक है? We are implementing GST. क्या problem है? What are the issues? What is the issue? What are the issues? We are vaccinating. What are the issues? What is the issue? Right? We have lockdowns in place. What is the issue? क्या problem है in implementing the lockdowns? So whatever we are doing, we as a country, as government, or the policies, whatever we are doing, whatever you read about what we are doing, ask yourself, what is the issue? क्या problem है? Indian GDP is growing very fast. Inflation is very high. क्या issue है? What is the problem? What is the impact of inflation on the Indian economy, of high inflation? Ask yourself these questions. Try to find answers to these questions, and trust me, your mains, your interview, and your post-interview training and all of that will be quick breeze for you. Will be very smooth for you. Otherwise, if you don't know the answers to basic issues, then you will find difficulty at various stages. Mains हो गया, interview हो गया, training में हो गया. Because in training also you will find, when you go to training, you will find peers who are selected with you and who have joined the academy, and they are very knowledgeable. They might not know everything, but at least basic issues are prepared. So you should also prepare those. Sir, कहाँ training तक पहुँच गए? यहाँ prelims clear नहीं हो रही है. Right? Think big. That thing yesterday I told you about the zoom out technique, right? So don't focus on prelims or mains or like that. Think big. Study in a way that you are able to clear through prelims, mains, interview together. It is called an integrated study approach. Don't study specifically for prelims. Definitely before a month before prelims or 2 months before prelims, you have to do some things which are not relevant for mains, but for only prelims, and vice versa also. But main concepts you have to study for all the stages. There is a clear acknowledgement. Discuss the issues plaguing the success of SEZ with respect to taxation, governing laws and administration. So they have only divided the parts. See, they have divided the parts. Issues plaguing the success of SEZ with respect to taxation, governing structure or governing laws and administration. Okay, 3 parts they have given. Now, what can we take from this question? What can we take from this question? That there are issues of SEZ with respect to taxation, governing laws and administration. That any industrial policy change which happens, we know that if they ask about issues, so normally यहाँ तक question होता है. Discuss the issues plaguing the success of SEZs. They have given you additional help. So next time when such a question comes or similar question comes with relating to not SEZ but other kind of industrial policies, you know that you can divide your answer in taxation, governing laws and administration part. You know that you can write these 3 points as it is, and you can explain the issues, right? So we have to take the source material from the questions itself, and then we have to give it back to UPSC. कि लो आपने बोला था, we are giving you back. You told us, we are giving you back. ठीक है? Going good? So please write this 2015 question 10 in your point 8. 2015 question 10. Then let's go to 2015 question 8. Same paper. Question 8. Success of Make in India program. I hope you have heard about Make in India. We encourage manufacturing in India. This is a program or scheme exclusively to boost the manufacturing sector, industrial sector, and hence it is coming under point 8. Success of Make in India depends on the success of Skill India program and radical labor reforms. So they are, let us so always first to 12 and a half. Second is that it is a 200 word question. You have to write about Make in India program, and then and if you want to divide into parts, then what is the part here? Skill India program and radical reform. So Make in India ka relation with Skill India. 1. How Skill India helps Make in India. and Make in India ka dependence on radical reforms, labor reforms. 2. These are the two major parts. I'm not going into the detail on what does discuss with logical argument means, what does comment means, what does discuss means, or elaborate, or enumerate, or enlist. So I'm not talking about the command words. We call them as command words. Discuss, critically analyze. All of those are command words. They are a part of answer writing, not really required now. Just focus on building content, understanding content first. So 12.5 success of Make in India depends on the success of Skill India program and radical labor reforms. Again, this was brought in 2015. Skill India mission, Make in India missions were launched in, Make in India was launched in 2015. Skill India was launched in Make in India was launched in 2014. Skill India was launched in 2015. Hence, it has appeared here. It is not a random question. It is not anything out of the blue or anything under the sun. It is a current affair, last 1 year current affairs question. Yesterday we discussed, right? Should we read current affairs beyond 1 year? Have we ever seen a question in past year questions which was beyond 1 year? No. 2012 ka question came in 2013. 2019 ka question comes in 2020. 2014-15 ka question is coming in 15 only. The last 1 year current affairs only they ask. That is why they are current. If they are, if the affairs relate to last or 3 years ago, then that is no more current. That is only affairs. That is not current affairs. Right? Success of Make in India program depends on success of Skill India program and radical labor reform. So there are two parts to it. There are two parts which we have made. See, they are not asking you to divide them into parts, but we have done is because one, it is a 12.5 marker, so we have to divide. And now, what do you think will be the weightage? Equal weightage. Equal weightage hoga because this Skill India program is 1 and this radical labor reforms are also equally important. So equal hoga. With the help of this Make in India, let me give an example of how to read in a concise manner, how to understand things in a concise manner. See, I told you yesterday that we will, in the Zoom meeting, that our notes become bulky. As you study, your notes will start on piling up and it will become bulky. And I told you that you should make very concise notes. And one of the way to do it is to understand a lot of things in 1 or 2 sentences. I'll give you an example. Have you heard of Make in India? I am assuming you have heard of Make in India. Make in India is the flagship scheme of the government to encourage manufacturers outside India to set up their base in India. Make in India. So, a lot of phones are now made in India. A lot of cars are now made in India. Tesla has set up manufacturing plant here. Samsung has set up its biggest manufacturing plant of the world. It has set up here. Apple has set up its manufacturing plant. iPhones, some models of iPhones, not all, but some models of iPhones are made in India. So we are increasing our presence in the manufacturing regime. Okay. So now if I tell you ki what is Make in India or what is the objective of Make in India? If I ask you what is the objective of Make in India? What would you say or what would you suggest or answer? What would you answer? What is the question is what is the objective of Make in India? That is the question. What is the objective of Make in India? Kya lagta hai? What do you think is the objective of Make in India? Answer in your own words, of course. Answer in your own words. If I ask you to write this, chances are you will write in 3 or 4 sentences, right? Make in India is an initiative by the government to encourage global manufacturers to set up their base in India, which will promote innovation, technology, proliferation, and etc. You will write in 3-4 sentences, which is not wrong. But considering the limited fixed word space we have and time we have, you can convey all this. You can convey all this in 1 sentence also, which is the main objective of Make in India. See, I am giving an example because it is here. Make in India. The objective of Make in India is to make India as a global manufacturing hub. I am using 3 words which convey everything, right? The objective of Make in India is to establish India or make India as a global manufacturing hub. Done. Finished. You must have seen that meme. Khatam. Bye bye. Goodbye. Of Mr. Rahul Gandhi. You know, that meme is very funny. ठीक है? Done. Finished. Khatam. Goodbye. Global manufacturing hub. Are you getting it? This is the difference between people who get very high marks and people who get average marks. See, for those who get average marks in mains, it is okay. You have written very well, but this is the difference. Global manufacturing. Similarly, I give another example. There is a scheme called Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. ठीक है? You must have heard of it. You must not have heard of it. That is fine. It is a very old scheme. Gram Sadak Yojana was launched in 2000. The year 2000. That road is meant for primarily for connecting the rural areas and for building roads basically. Gram Sadak Yojana, rural areas mein it constructs roads and rural areas mein to provide connectivity basically, that scheme. So if again I ask you to write it down, the introduction to Gram Sadak Yojana, you will go in 3-4 lines at least. Okay? The objective in one line or 1 or 2 lines, the objective of Gram Sadak Yojana is to provide, and look at the quality of words. These are not my words. Look at the quality of words. Global manufacturing hub. This is mentioned as the core objective of the scheme. These are not my words or not hi-fi English words. This is there in the scheme, mentioned in the scheme. Global manufacturing hub. Done. Finished. Gram Sadak Yojana, if I want to tell you as an example, is to provide Khatam, finish, over, goodbye. Gram Sadak Yojana, all-weather road connectivity to rural areas. See, one sentence is creating so much of an impact, and this is not my sentence. This is the scheme's objective. This is mentioned in the scheme. This is mentioned in newspapers whenever an article comes on the scheme. Because now, though, it is not a new scheme. It is a very old scheme, but still performance is talked about in newspaper, in economic survey. So it comes in your reading. This will come in your reading, but you will not pay attention. Instead, you will pay attention to what the author of that editorial or of that piece has mentioned, what sections are there. Those are all factual things. First, please clear your concepts. Gram Sadak Yojana, PMGSY, Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, is to provide all-weather road connectivity to rural areas. It is more, actually the sentence is much more, but for a 10 marker, enough, right? It is actually provide all-weather road connectivity to hitherto unconnected rural areas and to provide feeder roads. Aisa pura, it is a big, small, what you say, big, it occupies a big space in the page. It is a small paragraph, but it is a paragraph in short. So, but if we want to write an introduction, we cannot write the entire paragraph because ye ho gaya na, done. You must have heard about Udan scheme, Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik, Udan scheme, UDAN, Udan scheme, right? It was launched 2016 mein, I think it was launched, Udan Regional Connectivity Scheme. So again, in one line, if I want to tell, the objective is to provide connectivity to underconnected and unconnected airports throughout the country. Finished. Underconnected and unconnected airports. Underconnected means they have some flights, but they don't operate a lot of traffic. And unconnected means airports are there, but connectivity is not there. Simple. The point I'm trying to make is, please, if you start reading concisely, if you start understanding concisely, you will write concisely. Otherwise, this becomes a very big headache. The problem of bulkiness in notes, in answers, in recollecting, it is very difficult to do that. Okay? Please write 2015 question 8. in point number 8, 2015 question number 8 in point number 8, and we move on to the last question of this point, last question of point number 8. We move on to the last question of point number 8, which is 2017. Question number. So I think we didn't see 2017. Only one question we saw now. 2017 in the first point, question number 1. After that, we are seeing 2017 for the second time only. Point number 8, 2017 question number 12. Tell me what unique thing is there about this question. Tell me what unique thing you find about this question. What is the unique thing about this question? Did you follow our path? See this? Did you see this? One of the 2 times in the history of UPSC where this is given. What we are doing, they have mentioned here. We have derived our ideas and our understanding from this only. And this is not the case with all questions in this paper. Look at this, 15. Only in this question they have mentioned this. Okay? So it is changes in industrial policy, yes or no? Straightforward from the syllabus. Very straightforward from the syllabus. So we'll start. Industrial growth rate has lagged behind overall growth of GDP, which means they are saying that Indian economy is overall GDP. There are 3 sectors to it: primary, secondary, tertiary. Secondary is industry and manufacturing. So they are saying the secondary sector growth rate has lagged behind in the overall growth rate of GDP. Okay. In the post-reform period, which means again a change in industrial policy ke baad. Post-reform means when we talk about reforms, there is only one reform, one major reform, 1991. All other reforms are small compared to 1991. They are big in themselves, like GST reform, budget reforms. You have a lot of direct tax reforms, FDI reforms are happening constantly. FRBM was brought in. All of these are big reforms, but banking reforms. But compared to 91, they are small. So post-reform period, give reasons. First part, chalo. Give reasons. ठीक है? Notice that the give reasons wala part is not that easy also. It is a thinker, which makes you think. Industrial growth rate has lagged behind in the overall GDP in the post-reform period. Why? It is not something very easy. What are the components of GDP, or not something school-based. It is easier, but not very simple or very straightforward. So you have to still think and give reasons. First part. Second, how far the recent changes in industrial policy are capable of increasing the industrial growth rate. So now for this you have to know 2 things. What are the changes in industrial policy? That you have to know. And not only what, impact of those changes or the likelihood of those changes in increasing the growth rate, industrial growth rate, specifically industrial growth rate. How far are they capable? So now what they are asking about the changes, are they asking about what changes are made? No, but you have to know them. Are they asking about the issues in those changes? No. Are they asking about the features? No. They are asking the performance aspect of it. How far do you think that it will perform, or the industrial policy are capable of increasing the industrial growth rate? How far do you think Ajinkya Rahane would be able to increase the run rate in a match? How far do you think? It is not asking about the attributes of the changes, but yes, you have to mention the changes, yes or no. You have to mention those changes. Why? 15 marker hai. And without knowing the changes, how can you assess their impact or their capability? You cannot, simply cannot. Are you understanding what I am trying to say? Okay, it is very important. It is imperative that you understand all these things. And this is what we mean by doing question paper analysis. It is not a simple 3-word thing, you know, ki haan, analyze kar lo, just read the past year paper. When you go online and when you take other guidance, what happens is they write do past year question paper analysis. But analysis means what? This is the analysis. See the mark distribution. Is it in line with what we have been doing so far? More or less. 8 marks are given to the second part. 7 marks are given to the first part. We would have done a similar thing. If not 7, 8, we would have done 6, 9. Okay. So, what we are doing is on the right track, that we know now. Relative importance compared to uniform marks is more useful in our case. You know, relative importance, this is more important, this is slightly less important. So, all those things. ठीक है, industrial growth rate has like been 7 plus 8, 15 marks. It is 250 words again. It is 250 words, 15 marker, 250 words. My first attempt, my first question paper, when I wrote, like my first UPSC GS3 paper I wrote. Done. Please write 2017 question number 12 in your point 8. It is straightforward from the syllabus point. 2017 question number 12, point 8. Okay? Please write that. And with this, we complete our point number 8. With this, we finish all the questions asked from point 8. So, notice that there was an overlap between 1 and 8 and we have just taken only core point 8 questions in this part. Okay? Now we will move to the easier ones. Straightforward, jo bolte na hum, straightforward. We'll move to the straightforward ones. So now we did the first part, which covered the entire economy and the issues. We covered the 8th part, which covered the effect of other countries' policies on our economy, on the issues. Now we move on to ki theek hai, after you are developing, after you are growing so much, you are doing very good, but for whom you are doing this? We ask the question to Indian economy. What is the benefit of high growth of Indian economy? What is the benefit of developing the Indian economy so much? It has to benefit the people living in it. It has to benefit the people of India, right? So that is what we are doing in point number 2. What is point number 2? What is point number 2? Very quickly, inclusive growth and issues arising from it. Inclusive growth and issues arising from it के questions are amongst the easiest questions you can ever encounter. School questions होते हैं ना, school questions, they are school type questions. Inclusive growth and issues arising from it. Point number 2. Please prepare yourself for point number 2. You can take a short break. You can pause the video here if you want to take any biological break, or if you want to talk to someone or message someone or take a call or call someone. Please pause the video here, and after the pause, come back and continue. Okay? Okay. Let us continue. Let us continue. Point number 2. Point number 2 is inclusive growth and what? Inclusive growth and what? Issues arising from it. Inclusive growth and issues arising from it. Issues, the word issues is very important. Inclusive growth and issues arising from it. Okay? बराबर है. Inclusive growth and issues arising from it. Since we are on 2017, we will see 2017 only. 2017 में question had come on inclusive growth. Please brace yourself for very interesting, very easy questions. 2017 question number 13. इधर ही है. 2017 question number 13. Read the question. 2017 question number 13. Please read the question. Okay. What are the salient features of inclusive growth? टेक्स्ट के पीछे वाला क्वेश्चन होता है ना, द क्वेश्चन बिहाइंड द टेक्स्ट बुक्स. What are the salient features of inclusive growth? Inclusive growth means growth with everyone. You give opportunity of equal growth for everyone. You don't leave anyone behind. It is not equal growth. Please bear in mind, it is not equal growth. It is equitable growth. Growth according to one's capability, or the growth according to one's effort. Otherwise, if it was equal growth, hard workers would have worked less and less workers would have worked less. Everyone is equal. Okay. What are the salient features of inclusive growth? First part. Has India been experiencing such a growth process? Second part. Suggest measures for inclusive growth. Third part. This is a typical UPSC question. So, I told you, please pay attention to the issues. Please pay attention to what's your problem? Kya problem hai? Ask these three things to the problem. What is the definition of that, or what is the objective, or what is the meaning of that thing? What is the issue, and what are the measures or solutions, you can say. So, what are the salient features of inclusive growth? Very school based. First, has India been experiencing such a growth process? Now, can you leave it at yes and no and go on to the next part? No. You have to justify, yes, India has been experiencing inclusive growth because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, India has not been experiencing inclusive growth 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you write yes, then it becomes very hard for the examiner to give you marks because India has not been experiencing inclusive growth. That is one of the biggest problems of Indian growth process. And we measure inequality in growth by some economic measures. We'll see that something called as Gini coefficient, Lorentz curve, and all of these things. We will see that. But we have not been experiencing inclusive growth. So please do not write yes here and try to justify. Write no. Wherever an opinion is mixed, you can write. But your opinion is not mixed. Sir, how to know? You will read na. Everything is mentioned. Don't worry. Sir, where? Newspaper. You might find the answer to, has India been experiencing inclusive growth today? You might find answer to the solutions of inclusive growth in a newspaper 4 months down the line. Do not expect to find the answer to this question in one piece. It will always be piecemeal. In fact, even you will find some measures today, you will find some measures after 2 months, after 6 months, next year. It is you who should be aware, who should keep these questions in mind, who should keep syllabus points in mind and then read newspaper. That is the most important thing you can take away to score high marks. Otherwise, everyone reads books. Trust me, Lakshmikant is read and abused. That book is literally physically abused. Pad ke, pages are torn and all by everyone. But who are able to give correct MCQ answers, mark the right answers, or who are able to write correct answers in mains? Those who understand things. So please pay attention to that. Okay. What are the salient features of inclusive growth? Has India been experiencing such a growth process? Analyze and suggest measures for inclusive growth. Suggest measures. Now your antenna must be starting for the division of these marks. What does your antenna say? What do you think? What does your antenna say? Isko to highest hai, definitely. Let us give equal marks to this second part also. Equal marks. Because analyze means you have to give reasons or you have to justify your view, but this becomes difficult, right? To justify it becomes difficult. So we are giving equal marks to this and we are giving salient features ko little bit less marks. So we can maybe give 6, 6, 3 aisa marks. Salient features will have 3 marks, this will have 6 marks, this will have 6 marks. Aisa somewhat we can give. Or 6, 4, 5 if you want to give highest to this. 6, 5, 4. Something like that. So allocate space accordingly, allocate words accordingly, allocate points accordingly. Please write 2017 question number 13 in point 2 inclusive growth and issues arising from it. Syllabus they have copy pasted here. Bear in mind, syllabus, inclusive growth, and issues. Issues means process. Third part we have to add in our syllabus, or they are telling we will ask this also, is the measures for inclusive growth. See, whenever issues come, issues is favorite word of UPSC. Issues is our favorite word. You also have to find the solution. Issue without solution is meaningless. Issues are known to everyone, solutions are known to few. Solution has to be found, issues have to be known, and that is what they have asked here. A very straightforward, very easy 15 marker question which appeared 2017, question 13. Please write it in point 2, inclusive growth and issues arising from it. Next we move on to 2016 paper. 1 year behind we go, 2016 paper, and we see the third question. Read the question, read the question. Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. So first of all, before all of that, right? Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana is necessary for bringing unbanked to the institutional finance fold. Do you agree with this? For financial inclusion of the poorer section of the Indian society, give arguments to justify your opinion. Now, what makes this question tough is they are not asking about inclusive growth overall, but they are particularly asking about financial inclusive growth. One of the part is financial. Okay, you enable them to save money, you give them financial literacy, and then they will have an equitable opportunity of growth. So this is one part of inclusive growth. What makes this question difficult is they are asking only one thing here. Overall, one thing he pucha hai. Now, this give arguments to justify your opinion. Even if they did not write, we would have given the argument. Yes or no? Even if they did not write, we would have given the argument. So this is useless for our analysis now. Do you agree with Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana being necessary for bringing unbanked? Now, if you write no, I don't think how you will justify. I don't know how you will justify that Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana is not necessary for bringing or not helpful in bringing unbanked to the institutional finance world. Okay? So yes, definitely Jan Dhan Yojana is useful. So now we have to create parts because we know that only writing this core part is not sufficient. We have to create parts, which means one, we have to write about Jan Dhan Yojana. We have to write something about Jan Dhan Yojana. The objective of Jan Dhan Yojana, the very objective of Jan Dhan Yojana we have to write is necessary for bringing unbanked. We have to write something for financial inclusion of the the problem of financial inclusion. We have to write something about that also. India is facing a rampant problem of financial illiteracy or non-coverage with basic finance products and all of that, and you can throw in some statistics there if you know. Those are all next year type things which you will study by Jan or Feb when survey comes out. Survey has these statistics normally. Okay. So Jan Dhan Yojana is necessary for bringing unbanked to the. So one, you write about this. Two, you write about financial inclusion, and three, you write ki how this is helping this. Iska linkage is three. 3 parts are done, right? Now tell me, just take a moment and tell me, can we add a fourth hidden part here? Yesterday or in the last lecture we spoke about the dessert, or we spoke about the mouth freshener or the finisher of the meal. Is there anything which can be added as a finisher of the meal? So a fourth hidden part which can be added is what else can be done apart from Jan Dhan Yojana? for financial inclusion. Jan Dhan Yojana is not a solution to financial inclusion. It is a contribution towards the solution. Solution has to be a multi-pronged solution, has to be a comprehensive, a wholesome one. Okay, Jan Dhan Yojana is not a single step solution to it. No, it has to be a comprehensive one. Agreed? Yes. So Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana is very good in terms of moving towards financial inclusion or alleviating the problem of financial inclusion. But what more can be done? A, B, C. Bas, finished. Then you deserve highest marks out of 12. You have completed your answer in a very wholesome manner. For the purpose of analysis, see what they are asking. They have asked a scheme in terms of financial, in terms of inclusive growth, which means that our syllabus point of inclusive growth we have to read about schemes also. Now, schemes are broadly covered in social part of it, in GS2. Okay? In GS2, there is a syllabus point number 12, which has a sub point, design and implementations of schemes. Point number 13 says for socially vulnerable sections. Point number 12 overall hai for this thing, design and performance, design and implementation. So schemes have to be analyzed from two angles. Now I'm going in GS2. When you do syllabus analysis of GS2 of social justice, you will find two words which are mentioned in the syllabus. One is design of the scheme, of any scheme, GST le lo, any scheme is a broad word. It is not a scheme in a literal sense. It can be an act, it can be a scheme, it can be a program, a policy, anything. Design is one part of it and implementation is the second part of it. So any scheme, and how did we know these words? They are mentioned in syllabus. Syllabus is the single most important part. Okay, it is the primus inter pares, the first among equals, the highest among equals, syllabus. Design and implementation. So, whenever we talk about GST, Make in India, what are the issues or the strengths and drawbacks in designing? Means features mein kya acha hai, what is good, what is bad. Implementation, intention is very good, but implementation is bad. This bad implementation, this phrase describes the entire functioning of the Indian system, be it polity, be it economy, be it anything. Intentions are good, objectives are good, features are good, everything is good, implementation is not good. Similar thing will happen with your study also. We are doing a lot of analysis, you know what is to be done, you know how it is to be done, but implementation is the key. If you do not implement your strategy, if you do not study properly during the day, if you waste your days or number of hours, then it will not lead to the goal. So design and implementation are important. Do you imagine, like, do you appreciate how much of juice we are extracting from UPSC documents, be it syllabus, be it question papers, because that is the only thing we have now. We don't have anything else to go on. Iske baad, after this, we are directly starting with our studies, keeping this in focus. 2016 question number 3. Now, why is Jan Dhan Yojana coming? It was launched in 2015. This appeared in 2016, so don't worry about it. Right? Now it will ask about performance. So, a lot of schemes are completing 5 years this time, which were launched in 2016 and 15-16 ke beech mein, and they will complete 5 years in 2022 also. Those were launched in 16-17. So, a lot of schemes ka performance and flagship schemes. So, when BJP came to power in 2014, 14, 15, 16, in 3 years, it launched a lot of flagship schemes. Okay? So, uska abhi performance aayega. How has it performed? It has performed very bad, it has performed very good, it has performed moderate, and then you have to justify. So, please keep a note on performance of schemes. Schemes normally are covered under GS2 social justice because most of the schemes have a social angle to it. But in economy, there is no saying, like nobody can say that scheme cannot be asked. Scheme is asked, so we have to prepare schemes. But here, please make a note that this is not social justice. You are not writing a social justice answer. You are writing an economics answer. So the answer should have figures. Answer should have income levels. Answer should have money spending data relating to the poor people and all of that. So social goals and social justice is all very good, very important, but please keep that in paper 2. Here you are writing the economic angle. You are writing the economic angle of social issues, financial inclusion. Inclusion is the social issue, but financial inclusion becomes an economic issue. ठीक है, 2016 क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 पॉइंट नंबर 2 नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ। आपकी स्क्रीन के ऊपर अगला सवाल 50 लाख रुपयों के लिए ये रहा। Read the question. Sir, what is careless and what is useless manpower? Useless manpower means unskilled manpower which do not find proper jobs. Careless means old people who do not find proper care. Careless and useless manpower. So you can say non-literate people, and careless means no means, who have no means of care and all of that. So careless and useless manpower in the Indian context. Now this appeared in 2016. If you open the survey of, I don't remember, 15-15 or 14-15, some of the survey, it had 2 paragraphs on this. And they had mentioned these words, careless and useless manpower. So sources are there. We will study them. We will try to attempt the questions and we will win. Comment on the challenges for inclusive growth which include careless and useless manpower in the Indian context. So overall challenges पूछा है for inclusive growth, and what is the second part, the most important part of the question, and what is repeated here? Measures for facing these challenges. Measures for facing these challenges. Measures for facing these challenges. Is it not? Is it true? Yes, it is true. Measures for facing these challenges. Comment on the challenges for inclusive growth which include careless and useless manpower in the Indian context. Suggest measures to be taken for facing these challenges. Suggest measures to be taken for facing these challenges. ठीक है? Comment on the challenges for inclusive growth which include careless and useless manpower. See, challenges are fine, very good, no problem. You will have 12.5 में से you will have 5 marks for challenges and you will have 7.5 marks for your measures. Measures approximately. Measures are very important. Let us move on to the next because it is a repetition, so no need to discuss this. Inclusive growth and issues arising from it. Please write 2016 point number 6 in your point number 2. 2016 point number 6 in point number 2. Let us move to the latest one, 2020. Let us move to a more latest question, 2020. See, after all this, I would suggest just go through the question once. All 0.1 questions go through once. All 0.2 questions go through once. All 0.8 questions go through once. They should be embedded in your brain. And it makes studying so much easier that it becomes a lot. It becomes targeted. First question. Chalo fast. First question. Read this. "2021 mapping is your homework. Is your future homework. Explain intergenerational issues of equity from the perspective of inclusive growth and sustainable development. Some part of environment is also reflected here. See, it is GS3. It is an overall paper. Because some part of environment is also reflected here. Sustainable development. But this again, the essence of the question is not environment. The essence of the question is economics. So you have to write from the angle of resource conservation. You have to write ki how much money we lose by not doing sustainable development. Are you getting it? You don't have to write about pollution and climate change here. 1 or 2 points can be added, but since it's a 10 marker, main point is ki what are the economic losses relating to pollution and climate change. Climate change will flood the villages or not villages, sorry, will flood the low-lying areas. What is the economic impact of that? That should be mentioned here. What is intra-generational? Intra-generational means within the same generation. Intra-generational. So our generation, so my age is also not that much. So intra-generational means ki our age people are facing issues. We are sitting in the comfort of our homes. We are sitting in AC. We have mobiles. We have laptops. We have everything. And then there are same our age people, our generation people only who are begging on the streets, unfortunately, who don't have means to even eat 2 hot meals a day or even 1 hot meal a day sometimes. So this is intra-generational issue of inclusive growth. Now we are growing and they are not having an opportunity to grow. See, if they don't choose to grow despite having an opportunity, that is not the problem at all. There are some people who are very lazy. They get the job, but still they don't work effectively, and they are saying ki dekh lenge kya hoga. That is not the point here. But here people are not getting jobs despite having qualifications. People are not getting to learn or not getting degrees or not getting admissions despite having a willingness to learn due to any reason. Those are intra-generational issues. Intergenerational issues means ki like beyond generations, among the generations. So we our issues with our let's say siblings, elder siblings, or our parents. So all those are generational issues. We call a generation gap. So those generation gap issues come under intergenerational. But please do not lose your focus and do not think that this is a social justice question. This is an economics question. This appeared in GS3. So don't think that you can include a lot of social angle to it. You have to include economic angle to it. So for example, our parents, you must have heard your parents say that in our times things were so cheap and salaries were also low, no doubt, but things were cheap. We used to travel in 2 rupees. We used to get food in 1 rupee and so on and so forth. Intra-generational and intergenerational issues of equity. What do you mean by equity? We'll discuss equity later on because that anyways we are going to discuss inclusive growth. Usme ye sab is automatically covered from the perspective of inclusive growth and sustainable development. So now here, how many parts are we talking about intragenerational issue from the perspective of inclusive growth? 1, 2, 3, 4. See, in all the questions, such a rigid departmentation or such a rigid classification into parts is not required, but it will help us address all the parts of the question. So examiner should not feel that you did not speak about sustainable development or you spoke only 1 or 2 points on sustainable development. Examiner should not feel that. Otherwise, he'll give you skewed marks. On the lesser side, he will give you marks. So we have to speak about intra-inclusive, inclusive, intra-sustainable and inter-sustainable. Okay, 150 words, 10 marker. Again, very straightforward. The first question is about inclusive growth. Again, from the syllabus, nothing outside the syllabus. 2020, question 1, people. Point number 2, 2020, question 1, point number 2. Please write this down in your list. Okay. Then we move on to 2019, question 11. 2019, question 11. See, inclusive growth has a lot of overlap with environment. So the next question you will find it is an environment question, but it is a mix. Similar question, very similar question. It is argued that the strategy, It is argued that the strategy of inclusive growth is intended to meet the objectives of inclusiveness and sustainability together. Now, first thing I would like to tell you is copy this sentence as it is, remove the word argued, यहाँ से चालू करो and यहाँ पे. This you can stick in any of your answers relating to sustainability or inclusive growth. So the strategy of inclusive growth is intended to meet the objectives of inclusiveness and sustainability together. Very good point. An example, you can give an example. ठीक है? Comment on this statement. So now this makes it difficult. One small question, but for 15 marks. Had this been for 10 marks, things would have been a bit simpler. But it is argued that strategy of inclusive growth is intended to meet the objectives of inclusiveness and sustainability together. Comment on this statement. So it is, you should not contradict this statement. You should not go against the spirit of this question. You should not say that no, this is not true, and then you start your answer. ऐसा नहीं, you have to justify this answer. You have to comment on this statement. Means you have to say कि why it is argued. So you have to say why it is argued. First of all, what is argued? What do they mean by this statement? Why it is argued? ठीक है? And उसके बाद you can say कि how it can be achieved. See, they are inherently asking solution to this. They are not asking you to only justify this statement. They are inherently asking ki how this can be achieved. It is argued, but how this can be achieved, and of course, what are the challenges. So we divided our seemingly non-divisible question into 4 parts. So if you write these parts, examiner will feel ki yes, you have made a complete comment. So comment means that you have to look from all the angles, you have to take care of everything. So examiner will feel ki yes, you have now commented properly on this 4 angles, है ना? 15 marker, 250 words, and of course, if you are dividing this, this will have more marks. How and challenges will have more marks compared to what and why. Obviously. Please write 2019 question 11 in your point 2. Inclusive growth. Very similar question in 2020 appeared. So yes, similar repetitions happen. In fact, in prelims, so I will show you that same question copy paste from first word to the last word, including the options, have been repeated in the very next year of the exam. Just imagine, for example, in 13 one question came 2013. In 2014, the same question appeared. Now it was a mistake or it was genuinely done. That is anyone's guess. Right? We have seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions so far in point 2. 2017, 2016 ke 2 questions and 2020 and 2019. Okay? Now let me take you to the first question. The very first question of 2013. Very first question of 2013, please read it. With a consideration towards the strategy of inclusive growth, new companies built 2013. So first trigger is, अच्छा पहले तो 10 marks 200 words है. First trigger is very latest, very current based, nothing to worry about. ठीक है? With the consideration towards the strategy of inclusive growth, new companies built 2013 has indirectly made CSR a mandatory obligation. CSR is very important. So now from this one line, we take that CSR helps in inclusive growth. So in your notes of inclusive growth, with that other line, that inclusive growth also helps in sustainability, you have to write this also, that CSR also helps in inclusive growth. Okay? CSR also helps in inclusive growth. And if you had read the question before attempting 2019 or 2020 paper, if you had read if you have made this kind of analysis, CSR would be one of your points of achieving the goals of inclusive growth and sustainability together. Sir, what is CSR? So in brief, I'll explain now. CSR is corporate social responsibility, and like I told you, always in economics, if you don't understand any term, then please break it down. Corporate social responsibility. Social responsibility, I hope everyone knows ki something to do for the society, something good, something positive is to be done. Corporate means the responsibility of corporates for social purposes. Corporate social responsibility. Corporates are companies. So what the law says that out of every year profit, 2% of profit. I'm just giving a very crude way. I'm not going into the exact listing of law. But last 3 year ka profit, you take an average of last 3 years profit and uska 2% you have to spend every year on CSR activities, corporate social responsibility activities. Okay, that will help in inclusive growth and sustainability also. With a consideration towards strategy of inclusive growth, new companies bill has indirectly made CSR a mandatory obligation. So CSR helps in inclusive growth because there are a lot of environment friendly projects which companies can start as a CSR activity, and lot of employment is also generated in these projects. So sustainability is also done, inclusive growth is also done. Okay. Discuss the challenges expected in the implementation. Expected challenges, मतलब newspaper में आया है. Expected challenges, it has come in the newspaper, it is 2013, it is 2013, it is latest. In the implementation, in the right earnings. Also discuss other provisions in the bill. Now this I would like to draw your attention to and implications. So actually Companies Act, or then it was called the Companies Bill, every act before being assented to by the President is a bill. When it receives the assent of the President, his seal and his signature, and then it is published in the official gazette, then it becomes an act. Then it can be acted upon. It becomes an act. Uske pehle bill bolte. It is called a bill. Bill is a very generic English term for any document, bill. Currency ko bhi they say bills. Checks ko bhi sometimes bills are, they say bills. There are bills of exchange also. So it's a very generic term, bill. Companies Bill 2013 is very specific to the commerce, to the finance sector. It is very specific. Okay. Why it is appearing in the economics general studies paper? You need to understand this. Why so such a specific thing? And yahan tak theek hai because CSR and all is still fine. But what are the other provisions in the bill? Why is it expected that we should know other provisions of such a technical act? It is a technical act, Companies Act. It governs the birth to death of a company, right? Since not even birth, it covers the pregnancy of a company. When the founders are pregnant with the idea of founding a company, वहाँ से लेके from there till the death of the company, dissolution of the company, liquidation of the company, merger of the company, there can be deaths by various kinds. ठीक है? Of the company. This is a very massive bill. But why is it asked here? It is asked here. The simple reason is it is asked here because this is a groundbreaking overhaul of the system. Like GST, this is a major overhaul of the system. So you are expected to know some things about the finance sector as well, which are major, which are big, which are huge, which are paradigm shifting. Okay, that is why these other provisions are asked here and their implications. So these other provisions you can write anything, but please don't write very trivial provisions because their implications is also asked. So major, by adding the word implications, they are asking ki what are the other major groundbreaking changes apart from CSR. Okay? So independent directors ka accountability was drastically increased and all of that you can write, but please write economic aspects or okay, entire act is finance, so I would not say write economic aspects only. You can write anything, but just don't write trivial matters because you cannot justify their implication in it. If a small procedure is changed, for example, earlier you had to file your company's annual return within 2 months, and now in the new act it is made within 1 month. Just as an example I am giving, it is very trivial. That implication is not huge. Okay, but auditor accountability, investor accountability towards the investor, and all of those are huge things, so you can write them. But technical, don't go too much into technical. 2013, question number 1, point number 2, inclusive growth and issues arising from it. But the takeaway for us from this question was that CSR can also be as a point in inclusive growth. Are you feeling that we are just preparing the ground now? वो ready कर रहे हैं. We are just readying the ground now. Then we will get into it and play and wrestle. We are just preparing the ground now, and it is almost prepared. We are at the almost at the end of the questions. ठीक है? With the consideration towards the strategy of inclusive growth, new companies bill has indirectly made CSR a mandatory obligation, so on and so forth. Challenges, first part. Other provisions, second part. Implications, third part. If you want to divide it, challenges will have the most weightage. Why challenges will have the most weightage? Because it is the essence of the question. This is a subsidiary question. Also discussed. This is a subsidiary question. 2 and 3 will combined have little bit lesser marks compared to 1. So if it's a 10 marker, 6-4 will be the weightage. Approximately 6-4. Okay, Companies Act done. Very good. 2013, question 1, point number 2. Next, we quickly move on to the last question of point number 2. The last question of point number 2, which is inclusive growth and issues arising from it. See, I told you, point 1 has the maximum questions. Baki sare points mein there are only 4-5 questions. Last question from point number 2 is 2014. Last question is 2014. We are going to 2014 and we are going to 2014 question number 6. Now this is that paper now, which is not visible, I think. It is like this only. 2014 question number 6. I told you in the last lecture, paragraph based questions are coming. So this is a paragraph. Question 6. Capitalism has guided the world economy to unprecedented prosperity. However, it often encourages short-sightedness and contributes to wide disparities between the rich and the poor. Basically, it is talking about inequality. In this light, would it be correct to believe and adopt capitalism for bringing inclusive growth in India? This is a very, very, very difficult question. This is a very challenging question. It is a tough question to answer. And the reason being that where to start, where to end, how to divide it into parts. Okay, they have not mentioned marks also here. 12.5 200 hai. Capitalism, so you need to write about capitalism. What is capitalism? We are going to see in the next lecture. However, it often encourages short-sightedness and wide disparities. You have to write about how capitalism has contributed to the increasing inequality. But then you have to give an opinion that despite this, capitalism is good or capitalism is bad. So basically the question in simple terms, in translated terms, is impact of capitalism on inclusive growth. Simple. If I want to simplify this question, it is impact of capitalism on inclusive growth. In India. Okay, it is impact of capitalism on inclusive growth in India. Are you getting it? Capitalism ka impact on inclusive growth. Now, of course, we want to divide it further because it is 12.5 marker. So you have to write both positive and negative aspects. and then you have to firmly give an opinion that yes, capitalism is important, or no, capitalism is not important, we cannot adopt capitalism, and then you have to give those reasons also, reasons for that. And I feel that all parts of this question will have a very good weightage, because it is a very comprehensive, it is a very analytical, it is a very thoughtful question, thought-provoking question. See, unlike the questions which are being asked nowadays, 18, 19, 20, we have seen the papers. Define inclusive growth. What are the issues arising from it? They are very easy questions. Bear in mind, this is a very, very difficult question. Okay? 2014 GS3 and 2016 GS2. These are the, I personally feel, this is my personal view, that these were very tough. 2014 GS3 and 2016. Others were quite balanced. But 2014 GS3 mains and 2014 GS3 mains and 2016 GS2 mains were very difficult, but very tough. Okay, yes, we are here, please write this down, please write 2014 question number 6. पूंजीवाद ने विश्व अर्थव्यवस्था का अभूतपूर्व समृद्धि तक दिशा निर्देशन किया है. I can't even see it. परंतु फिर भी वह अक्सर अदूरदर्शिता को I don't even know प्रोत्साहित करता है तथा धनवानों और निर्धनों के बीच विस्तृत असमताओं को बढ़ावा देता है. इसके प्रकाश में भारत में समावेशी समृद्धि को लाने, इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ को लाने के लिए क्या पूंजीवाद में, कैपिटलिज्म में विश्वास करना और उसको अपना लेना सही होगा? चर्चा कीजिए. The thing which we have been doing since our birth with our friends, colleagues, girlfriends, boyfriends, relatives, cousins, brothers. ठीक है, चर्चा. 2014 question 6 was the last point of point number 2, which is inclusive growth and issues arising from it. It was the last point. Okay. Now we move on to another point. You only tell me which point we are moving on to, because point number 3, 9 and 10 are remaining. Correct? Point number 3, 9 and 10 are remaining. Again, small number of questions are there. In point number, not point number, I will just show you the question directly. We are in 2014, so no questions from this paper. We will go to 2018. 2018 we have seen quite less of it. No? 2018, this is that paper. 2018 point number, question number 2. Question number 2. We are at 2018 question number 2. In case you cannot read, I will read it for you. Comment on the important changes introduced. Comment on the important changes introduced in respect of the long-term capital gains tax. So L, long-term capital gains, CGT, long-term capital gains tax, and dividend distribution tax, DDT, in the union budget for 2018-19. So before that, just read it once. Comment on the important changes introduced in the respect of long-term capital gains tax and dividend distribution tax in the union budget 2018-19. Now I want to tell you one thing very clearly, that when you read ready-made material for budget, when you prepare government budgeting, when you read ready-made material, very less importance would be given to these points, because these are technical financial points. Very less importance would be given, and UPSC has caught on to just that, and UPSC has asked that question. 10 marker question. If you know the answer, 8 marks can be yours. If you don't know the answer, 2 or 3 marks max. Not even 3, 2 marks. And you cannot even write anything general here. This is very, very, very specific. This is not general studies. This is a specific technical question. Comment on the long-term capital gains tax. Technical, and dividend distribution tax. DDT. In the union budget 18-19. So it appeared in 2018. Budget for 18-19. Current budget pucha hai. It is not old budget. It is not very old budget. It is current budget only, current year's budget. So when you will give exam, for those who are giving in 2021, we have a few people who are giving in 2021. You have to prepare budget for 2021-22. Okay, which was released in February. For those who are giving in 2022, you have to prepare budget for 2022-23, which will come in coming February 22. ठीक है, बराबर है. Long-term capital gains tax 1. First part, see there are two parts, straightforward 2 parts. What are the changes introduced in LTCG? What are the changes introduced in DDT? Finished. No intro, no conclusion, nothing like that. Now this point comes from, obviously it comes from point number, this question comes from point number 3, which is government budgeting. Yes or no? It comes from point number 3, which is syllabus point number 3, which is government budgeting. I told you in government budgeting that there are two parts of it. One is the content and one is the process. The process of the budget is covered in your GS2, Article 112 and all of those things. I think your lectures are done till fundamental duties, if I'm not wrong, right? DPSP and fundamental duties. So when you do Parliament chapter, in that the entire process of annual financial statements is given. You will read that, you will study that, and you will be done with the process. The content of the budget I told you is asked. Content, straightforward content is asked. Not even types of budget, content is asked. Sir, how to prepare these then? My lectures. I will be very boastfully telling my lectures. Reason being, we don't rely on any ready-made material. We directly go through the Union Minister's budget speech and we analyze the changes. I take around 1 to 2 lectures max for budget, for fiscal policy matters and other related changes. 1.5 lectures you can say. And you know, after the budget, after the discussion on budget, we also solve a few practice MCQs on that budget in the class itself, so that the budget becomes fit in our minds. If you have any friend who has done Prelims Master Program course, which was conducted in March, I have my economy lectures there, which are available on the website. There is a nominal fee for that, but there are 20 to 25 lectures, and anyone who is giving 2021 attempt and who wants to see the budget part of it, or who wants to just fast track preparation, can see that. Any of your friends or you yourself, you can just go online and subscribe for it. It is only economy classes for, I think it is around 2000 rupees. Only there are different modules, geography, history, economy. So only economy. We have discussed this year's budget in its entirety, and you will notice that after the lecture, the budget is feeded into your brain. It is fit. It is input into your brain. I remember now also 34 lakh crores is the capital expenditure in the budget. I remember the figures. So we do it in such a manner. For next year students, we will have separate budget and survey lectures. Don't worry about it. We will have lectures in March after Feb when these documents are released. For those who are giving in 21, if you want those lectures, you can access those lectures, or otherwise you can read it yourself also. No need of paying so much of money only for 1 or 2 lectures. Yes, but if you want the entire course, you can take it. It is a fast track course and specifically targeted towards prelims. There is no mention of mains in that. Facts and all, concepts and all are there. But yes, if you want to prepare budget for this year, for 2021, I would say go through the budget speech of finance minister. That is more than enough. Budget speech is around of 30-35 pages hota hai, but it is a speech, so a lot of matter is irrelevant for us. The relevant things we pick up and we move ahead. Okay? So this was straightforward. This is the easiest question. I think among the top 3 easiest questions which have been asked, only if you know it. And in 2018, I gave my second attempt and I was teaching also. So this, you see, teaching improves your memory and things get input in, feeded into your brain. So when I was teaching this, when I was teaching the budget, I just told my students to pay attention to these commerce or finance facts. They might seem irrelevant, but you never know UPSC when it will ask. And in 2018 only UPSC asked this, and I was so happy seeing this question. My students were also very happy seeing this question. They said, other questions we don't know, but this question we know. We are waiting above 6 marks. Because see, here there is no scope, there is no opinion which is asked. Ki examiner has a discretion of giving marks or not. If you have written the changes, you will get marks. If you didn't write the changes, you will not get marks. If you beat around the bush, you will not get marks. Okay? So please write 2018 question 2 in point 3 government budgeting. 2018 question 2 in point 3 government budgeting. Next question, we come to 2019. Next question, we come to 2019. Read this 12th question. The public expenditure management is a challenge to Government of India. Public expenditure management is a challenge to India in the context of budget making during the post-liberalization period. Clarify it. Clarify it. Not do you agree. Clarify it. Support it. Make it clear. Make it simpler. Tough question. 15 marker. Very less parts. Difficult question. Public expenditure management is a challenge. Public expenditure management is a challenge to Government of India in the context of budget making during the post-liberalization period. So it is impact of liberalization on Indian economy. On which aspect of Indian economy? Government budgeting. So this is a mix of point number 3 and point number 8. Okay? This is a mix of point number 3 plus point number 8. Okay? Clarify it. So, what changed after liberalization? So, earlier how we used to set budgets and expenditures, and now how we do it, and what changed, and what are the challenges? That is what is being asked. Difficult question, interesting question. Do you really think the answer to this question is there in books? Do you really think it will be there in this year's books? Because this was asked in 2019, it will be there in this year's books, not before that. The latest edition will have answer to these books. Answer to these questions. Okay? Please write 2019 question number 12 in point number 3. 2019 question number 12 in point number 3. Next we go to 2013. See, I know it is tiring, I know it is monotonous, it is a stretch, but before knowing this, I cannot start with the content, otherwise it will be directionless. Economics is a huge ocean. So without knowing where to swim or where is the coast, you will just keep swimming endlessly. And I don't want you to waste even that 1 hour of your time. So we'll do everything in a planned manner. 2013 mein jate hai, we'll go to 2013. 2013 mein we have question number 2. Question number 2. Read the question. We are going to cover all of this. Don't worry about it. Read the question. वित्तीय दायित्व और बजट प्रबंधन अधिनियम 2003 को प्रारंभ करने के क्या कारण थे? उसके प्रमुख प्रावधानों और उनकी प्रभाविता का समालोचनात्मक विवेचन कीजिए. What were the reasons for the introduction of FRBM 2003? Discuss critically its salient features and their effectiveness. So FRBM Act, for those who don't know, it is an act. We will discuss it in our coming 1 or 2 sessions. Sorry. FRBM Act, why it is being asked? Just imagine why it is being asked. The hint is here. This is 2013 paper. This is 2003. Okay? 10 years had elapsed since this act. Newspaper editorials had come in regarding the performance of this act. See, after 5 years, 10 years now, the round figure of years, newspaper editorials and articles come regarding the performance of the scheme and what are the challenges with the scheme, what more is required, has it fulfilled its objectives or not. So this was also newspaper based, don't worry about it. What are the reasons? But they are asking the history now. Okay, 10 years are done, but why it was introduced? And that is why I told you over the Zoom call that please read Indian Express explained page. They update it fairly regularly. Hindu also has an explained page. It is fairly new. They have started it 6 months back, I think. Indian Express explained page is fairly comprehensive and they update it regularly. So please read that. Even if you are not reading the paper, just read the explained page. And you can read it on the website also. They have a URL, Indian Express explained. You will get it. Okay? So I am sure Indian Express explained page would have an article on FRBM. Might be years back, but it will have. What were the reasons for introduction of FRBM in 2003? Discuss critically its salient features and their effectiveness. So you have to criticize a little. Critically, you have to discuss. You have to view this from a very suspicious angle. Critically as a suspicious. शक की नजरों से देखो. You must have seen CID. Everyone has seen CID or Crime Patrol. So ACP Pradyuman says, कुछ तो गड़बड़ है दया. That is what you have to apply here. कुछ तो गड़बड़ है in FRBM, in the features of FRBM. Critically, its salient features and their effectiveness. But does that mean you have to write the entire answer in a negative fashion? No, it does not mean that. You have to write the positive aspects as well, but you have to then put more focus on the criticism side of it and constructive criticism. Ki this will never work. Don't write all of this. This will never work. This is useless. Constructive criticism. Ki for this to work, this is required. More is required. I'm not getting into the content consciously because it will be very haphazard then. Just now focus at the question. What were the reasons of act? So for example, if you're giving in 2021, just note 2010-11 ke around has any major thing happened, or in 2012 has any major thing happened, why it has happened, and has it fared well, or has it achieved the objectives or not, and what more can be done. That is the takeaway from this. 10, 200, please write 2013 question number 2 in your point number 3. See the next question. See the next question. Immediately next question. What is the meaning of the term tax expenditure? So school based, concept based, directly tax expenditure ka meaning they are asking. If you beat around the bush, he will understand that you don't know anything. He will not give you much. Straightforward, you have to write. You have to start with tax expenditure means X, Y, Z, A, B, C. Okay? Taking housing sector as an example, discuss how it influences the budgetary policies of the government. So a lot of housing shops and lot of this 13-14 budget had a lot of housing sector related policies. Hence this question has come in. Okay? Taking housing sector as an example. So it is a mix of point number 3 and little bit of point number 9 infra, but not exactly point 9 because point 9 is core infrastructure and this is budget. The essence of this question is budget. So what is the meaning of the term tax expenditure? Taking housing sector as an example, discuss how it influences the budgetary policies of the government. Now just take a guess on this term. What do you think is tax expenditure? क्या लगता है? What is tax expenditure? What do you think? Any idea about what is tax expenditure? Any rough idea what is tax expenditure? Tax expenditure is not salary of income tax officers or salary of or the expenses which are incurred in tax administration. It is not that. See, some of you are working also or have worked also. So, under Income Tax Act, under any act, GST, Income Tax Act, government gives you a lot of concessions, a lot of SOPs, a lot of discounts, a lot of exemptions. Okay, government gives you a lot of discounts. Well, you must have heard about ATC or ATG, just these words, where you donate some money, or in PM Cares if you donate, or PM NRF, National Relief Fund, if you donate, you will get tax exemption, which means your tax can be lowered by that amount. So all these are facilities or subsidies, which are, you can say, subsidies given to taxpayers. Subsidy normally we say in terms of food and agriculture, no? But these are also in the nature of subsidies only. These are tax SOPs or tax discounts or tax concessions which are given. But when the government is giving you a lower rate of tax, or when the government is telling you you don't need to pay tax on this, or this is exempt, don't pay tax on this, or reduce 50,000 from your tax, it is whose loss? Government's loss. It is not that government is going to get that money out of anywhere else, or out of thin air. It is not going to pull money. Government is foregoing the money, yes or no? Government could have collected that 1 lakh rupees from you as tax, but government said ki, okay, the policies are to ease your burden. But while easing your burden, government is increasing its burden, because government is reducing the revenue stream or revenue flow of the budget, right? So that those things, the revenue foregone in terms of due to due to tax concessions, tax exemptions, tax deductions, tax discounts, tax SOPs, tax subsidies, is called as tax expenditure. So keep this in mind. Now just imagine, if you don't know the concept, would you be able to give a good start to this answer? In fact, if you don't write this, I don't think the second part, maybe he would be much impressed, because a good start to the answer sets the tone for the entire answer, right? So tax expenditure, that is why I always say concepts in economics are so important that in prelims, so they definitely help you. They ask concepts only. But in mains also, if you know, you can write in your own words then the concept. Tax expenditure ka definition you don't have to write. You have to write in your own words. What do you understand by tax expenditure? But for that, you need to understand what is tax expenditure. Okay, please write 2013 question number 2. No, sorry, question number 3 also along with question 2. So question 2 and 3 in point 3. Okay, is it cool? Is it thanda? Is it cool? Then we come to the last question of point number 3. We come to the last question of point number 3. Like I have always told you, either content or the process is asked. All these are content. See, housing sector ka content they have asked. This is related to budget. This is related to process and content, both of the budget. So we'll see what is this in the coming lectures. 2000, we are at point 3. Now we are going to 2017. we are in point 3. 2017 अगला क्वेश्चन ये रहा आपके स्क्रीन के ऊपर. Read this. One of the intended objectives of the Union Budget 1718 is to transform, energize and clean India. Analyze the measures proposed in the budget to achieve the objective. One of the intended objectives of the Union Budget 17 paper. So latest budget only, no old budget. The objective is to transform, energize and clean India, which is what they mean is that they are asking the content of the budget. They are asking what was the theme of the budget, or what was the objective of the budget, or what is the speciality of the budget. You can analyze the measures proposed in the budget to achieve the objective. So what are the measures proposed to achieve the objective? So now you have to divide this question. So measures proposed with respect to transforming the budget, measures proposed with respect to energizing India, transforming India, energizing India, and cleaning India. And you know what? Budget had these separate headings in that year: transforming, energizing, cleaning India. So they are asking, basically what they are asking, I'll tell you, have you read the budget? They are asking, have you read the budget? What are the measures performed? So there are three parts: measures performed for transforming, energizing, cleaning. And then since it is a 15 marker question, add some nice introduction, add some nice conclusion ki more than this, more than the measures which are already proposed, 1, 2, 3, these things are also required, which will go a long way in complementing or acting as a catalyst to the measures already proposed in the budget. Done. See, so many easy questions come in economics. See, when it is difficult, I tell you that this is a difficult question. For example, 2014, very difficult. But so many easy questions also come in economics. Why fear when I am here? Please write this: 2017 question number 11 in point number 3. Question number 11 in point number 3. See, I am doing all of this because once we start our preparation, it will not be a prelims preparation or not be a mains preparation. The content will be delivered in such a manner, you will understand the content in such a manner that if prelims question comes, you should be able to answer. Mains questions come, you should be able to answer. Interview question comes, you should be able to answer and form an opinion and answer. Okay? I teach in a very integrated manner. I disagree with the distinction between prelims and mains and interview for economics. I am not talking about other subjects. For economics, it has to be studied in an integrated manner. What is tax expenditure? You should know. You can use it in mains, you can use it in prelims also when the question comes. So, write 2017 question 11 in point number 3. Point number 3 is government budgeting. So, that was the last question with respect to government budgeting. So, we are done with point number 1, 2, 3 and point number 8. Okay? Just to reiterate, just very quickly, point number 1, syllabus point is Indian economy and issues relating to planning, mobilization of resources, growth, development, employment. Point number 2, inclusive growth and issues arising from it. We have seen the questions which come from inclusive growth and issues arising from it. Point number 3, government budgeting. We see that content of the budget is asked a lot, right? Then in point number 8, we have point number 8. Point number 8, we have effect of industrialization on effect of liberalization on Indian economy, changes in industrial policy and its effects on industrial growth. Point number 9 and 10 are remaining, which is infrastructure, ports, roads, airports, railways, etc., housing, then sanitation, logistics, and housing ke baad the telecom and logistics. Sanitation is also there. You can add sanitation to the etc. point also. In point number 9, you can add sanitation also. It comes under cleanliness wala, to sanitation dal do. And 10th is investment model. So point number 9 and 10 are remaining. 4, 5, 6, 7 we are going to cover in the latter half of our course. Agriculture I will be only teaching you, but agriculture is so simple that you should only know the basics. You should know the economics of agriculture. Okay? So we'll stop here. We'll continue in the next lecture. Any feedback is always welcome, both positive, negative, critical, but please be constructively critical. Anywhere you do criticism, right? I hope this was useful for you, and thank you. I'll see you in the next lecture. In the next lecture, we are going to see some prelims strategy. We are going to discuss some of the requirements for prelims exam, and we are going to see the past year question, and we'll start with economics. Okay? Again, one more thing is, right now you are riding on an Activa, which means on a scooty. You know, things are going comfortably. You are going at a constant speed, very good. It is a free road. Suddenly, in the next two lectures, you will realize that you are going on a super bike. I will take you from this level to this level very quickly, and then we will play on that level. Okay? You will not even realize by the end of 8 or 10 lectures, you know so much. That is what I try to achieve. So please watch all the lectures very carefully. If you don't understand, then watch it again. And if you have any doubts, please ask me. I'll see you in the next lecture. We'll continue with these points. We'll speak about prelims, we'll speak about sources, we'll speak about books and all, and we'll start economics. Thank you so much.